Good day everyone, I am Rika Midingding and I'm going to present some of the contributions of ancient Egyptians in science and technology. First is papyrus, from which we get the modern word paper, is a writing material made from papyrus plant, a reed which grows in the marshy areas around the Nile River. Papyrus was used as a writing material as early as 3000 BC in ancient Egypt and continued to be used to some extent until around 1100 AD. Then, ink. Of course, papyrus paper is no use without an ink. So, the ancient Egyptians mixed vegetable gum, soot, and beeswax to make a black ink. Eventually, they replaced the soot with other materials such as red ochre or to create various colors of ink. Then, the ox-drawn plow and the sickle. One of the many inventions and innovations of ancient Egyptian. The first ox-drawn plows appeared in Egypt as early as 2500 BC. They were made of bronze, which easily scored the earth into furrows. Workers with hoes then broke up the clumps of soil and sowed the rows into seed. Along with the fertile banks of the Nile River, the ancient Egyptians grew wheat and various vegetables. The sickle, which with its curved blade was used for cutting and harvesting grains such as wheat and barley. Canals and irrigation channels. Built gates into canals so that they could control the flow of water, and they built reservoirs to hold water supplies in case of drought. The ancient Egyptians used water wheels, which were an invention of theirs called a shaduf. It was comprised of a long pole with a bucket on one end and a weight on the other. The buckets were dropped into the Nile, filled with water, and raised using water wheels. Then, oxen swung the pool so that the water could be emptied into canals that were used to irrigate the crops. Next is the invention of calendar. The earliest Egyptian calendar was based on the moon cycle, but it did not predict the Nile flooding which happens every year. So, the Egyptians adopted a solar calendar. They devised a 365 days calendar that seems to have begun in 4236 BCE, the earliest recorded year in the history. The Egyptian clock. The ancient Egyptians had two types of clock, the water clock and the sundial. Water clock has a pot of the top of the stand had a hole drilled in the side. This pot was then filled with water and the water could flow out of the top pot down to the bottom pot. Then, the water was at a certain level, it was a certain time. While the sundial was basically a circle with numbers written around it with a little stick in the middle. When the stick's shadows fell on a certain number, it was that time. Then, mathematics. The ancient Egyptians also contributed in the field of mathematics. Mathematics was used in record keeping, in developing the schematics for machines such as the water pump, in calculating tax rates, and in drawing up designs and setting locations for building projects. Then, astronomy. They used stars to tell when it was going to rain, when it was nearing time to plant or harvest crops, and even the best time for making important decisions such as building a home or temple or starting a business venture. Then, the invention of toothpaste. The ancient Egyptians invented toothpaste, with one recipe containing powdered of ox hooves, ashes, burnt eggshells, and pumice. Another probably better tasting recipe contained rock salt, mint, dried iris flower, and grains of pepper. Lastly, the surgical instrument. Edwin Smith Papyrus shows the Egyptian invented medical surgery. Describes 48 surgical cases of injuries of the head, neck, shoulders, breast, and chest. It is also the earliest document to make a study of the brain. That is all for my report. Thank you.